Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at how you deal with physical anxiety symptoms, the one and only technique to use. So we're going to look at the anxiety cycle, something called the CARE technique, and practicing this. So the anxiety cycle when it comes to physical symptoms. What often happens is that we have some form of anxiety, whether we know the cause or we don't. It might be we're about to give a speech, we're about to go on a date, and what often accompanies anxiety is physical symptoms. Now, there's quite obvious ones that come with anxiety. That might be a churning stomach, pounding heart, shaky hands, but actually it can also be brain freeze, feeling really sweaty, feeling a bit paralyzed in your mind. There is really an endless list of physical symptoms that anxiety can cause us. Now, the problem is we react to physical symptoms with anxiety about symptoms. And what I mean by that is we resist symptoms. We don't want them. They're uncomfortable. We might feel embarrassed that other people will see them, so we resist them. We might go into like, I don't want this now. How do I make this stop? And we might engage in mentally trying to push them down or telling them to stop. Or we might try do things like breathing techniques or anything that we think might make it better, which is completely understandable. The problem is this traps us, because when we resist physical symptoms, we create more anxiety, which creates more physical symptoms, which then intensifies the experience of the physical symptoms, ends in more anxiety, which then creates more physical symptoms, and you can see the loop here. So anxiety can be really entrapping, and in a way sometimes I like to call this sort of the anxiety narcissist. You are not narcissistic. Anxiety is. It wants your attention and it creates these physical symptoms, and they are demanding your attention. And most of us give them our attention because it feels so awful. But the problem is giving it attention not only amplifies the experience of them, it creates more resistance, which creates more anxiety, and the loop continues. And for some people this can result in things like a panic attack, and for others we're just sort of cycling through really uncomfortable physical symptoms for a short or long period of time. So if I could really summarize this in one way, it is trying to control anxiety creates more anxiety. And I know that feels so counterproductive, because anxiety feels like a problem that we need to do something about, which is probably how you've ended up on this video. And I understand you. It's completely normal. It's an uncomfortable experience. It can be an embarrassing experience. Of course, we want to problem solve it. We cannot problem solve anxiety. And the more we give it our attention, the more anxiety we have. And that makes it uniquely different to other emotional states. Anxiety is something that once triggered externally can be internally triggered over and over again through this cycle. Whereas other emotional states, for example, we might say happiness. We might try and focus on our happiness, but eventually it will probably go away, quite sadly. Whereas the more we focus on anxiety, the longer it lasts. If only happiness had the same mechanism. So this is a technique I teach to all my clients. Fundamentally, it moves away from anxiety management to actually changing your relationship with anxiety to start with. The first thing when we're in this cycle is, once we feel anxiety, is to practice compassion. So what I mean by that is anxiety is trying to protect you. So even if it's unhelpful and we don't want it, anxiety's intention is protective. It is trying to protect you, even though it might be alarming on something that we don't want it to. Compassion is the antidote to reacting further to this and recognizing its good intention. So that might be by saying something like, oh, I can see you're here. Let's say I've got a lump in the throat. I can see you're here, lump in the throat, because this is important to us. Now that is very different to saying, oh my God, I need to get rid of this lump in the throat. This is compassion, the other is resistance. Secondly, acceptance. So acceptance is the antidote to making anxiety grow. When we truly accept, anxiety dissipates naturally in the background. And I know this can feel really counterintuitive if you spend your time resisting anxiety. And I mean truly accept. And what I mean by that is, telling ourselves just accept it will go away isn't really acceptance, because it's acceptance conditional on if anxiety leaves us. Truly accept, which is to truly allow the experience of anxiety for however long it wants to stay with you. So that might look like, that's okay, lump in the throat. You're allowed here. I'm not going to resist you. you can stay as long as you want. Truly accept and allow you. So it's like allowing a wave to come at you and really not doing anything. It's going to take you wherever it takes you, and you're not going to swim, you're not going to get a floaty, you're just going to go. Then we want to respond. So responding to our anxiety in a helpful way. So this might be thanking it, it might be showing more compassion, it could be joking with it. But whatever it is not responding with fear and resistance. So if my heart's beating really fast, I might be saying, come on, beat my heart so fast someone thinks drums are playing or somebody's going to start rapping over it. Or if I've got the lump in the throat, it might be saying, come on, make the lump so big I can barely eat and then you'll achieve my diet for me. Obviously, I don't mean that. But the point is, I'm really getting into a light-hearted relationship with my anxiety rather than resisting it. Now, for some, joking doesn't feel right, and that's okay. Use compassion again. So coming back to something like, thank you, lump in the throat, for alerting me that this is important. I know, and we're going to get through it together. You are really befriending this part of yourself than resisting it. Then finally, we want to engage. And if you're part of one of the courses I'm running, then you've already been practicing this through external focus. So engaging back with the environment you are in. Focus your attention back on the external environment. So that might look like, I'm refocusing now, anxiety, but you can continue to do what you want. So no matter what's going on, the lump in my throat, my pounding heart, all the thoughts in my head, I completely accept and allow them. They can do whatever they want. I'm going back to the task at hand. I'm really trying to engage in your environment, and that might mean really paying attention to grounding, like focusing on colors or sensations or sounds. Very different response to resisting anxiety. But if you can really master this, you will find that the physical symptoms dissipate very quickly and you can get on with whatever you're doing and not have to try control anxiety anymore. And often they just begin to fade into the background till you barely notice them. Now, you might be wondering, oh my God, this is a lot to remember. And do I have to practice this for the rest of my life? One, yes, it is a lot to remember. It is. I don't deny that. But like anything, like when you first learn to speak English, practice will make it natural to the point where you don't even have to think about it and you can get there. But if you can't remember it, just remember acceptance and engage. Really accept it and engage back into your external environment. You will find that to be effective. Really practice this. You will change your relationship to the symptoms and it will become so automatic that you will practice it for the rest of your life, but without effort. It's more effort to spend a life resisting anxiety than to really practice this technique for a month or so and then change your relationship with anxiety for what I hope is the rest of your life. But of course, this video is here if you ever need a refresher. So it's your turn now. Try to practice care on physical symptoms. I will link a worksheet below that also takes you through the steps. You maybe might want to save it on your phone or something that's easily accessible. Now, if you're watching this as part of one of my courses or therapy, keep up with your safety behavior work and external focus, particularly external focus because you're already practicing the E of the care technique. Now, one thing to say is, one question I get is, can I use this on anxious thoughts? Absolutely. I think it's most effective on physical symptoms just because a lot of the time we don't really have good techniques to handle those other than breathing techniques and things which are not easily accessible in the moment. But you absolutely can use this on thoughts too. The technique remains the same.